Welcome to Is It ADHD or Life? A couple's perspective, where we unravel what it's like to live with ADHD within a relationship. And this week we're asking the question, is it ADHD or life? And we're joined by a very, very special guest, an ADHD coach, speaker, and comedian, which is very important, Suzi Payton. Welcome, Suzi.
Hi, Susie.
Oh, hello. Thanks for
Hello.
having me.
Oh, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
We actually did a little bit of social media stalking this morning
Mhm.
and saw that you've been out for a swim already this morning very early.
Yep, absolutely. I love it down there, although it was extremely cold. The wind was a bit
Yes.
cold because
I
it's
can
an
imagine.
outdoor pool.
I feel like Adam would love the idea of going like
I love the idea,
yes.
but I don't know how you could do it. Our mornings are very different.
Extremely.
Yeah.
Adam said, he's like, oh my God, Susie's been for an outdoor swim this morning. Look at that. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, wow, that is pretty good.
That was as I was lying in bed scrolling on my phone, I seen it.
Yeah, in the warm. Yeah.
Amazing. So let's get straight to it then. So can you start us right from the beginning? Kind of what signs you had that maybe your brain was slightly different and how where you went from there?
Yeah. So I've always known that I've been different, but not really known why.
Hmm.
As a child, I was kind of very hyperactive, always out on my bike, um, on my roller skates, on my skateboard. I had
Love
a
that.
great time, lots of freedom. My bedroom was, and still is actually, a mess.
Oh,
Um, haven't quite mastered that yet, but I will get there. I will get there when the time is right.
yeah, yeah.
Um, one day. But there's so much more fun stuff to do, isn't there?
That's it.
Yeah.
So, but it is on my radar. Yeah, and then school was pretty challenging. Primary school was okay, and then as soon as I moved to secondary, everything kind of went downhill in terms of learning. I didn't learn. I couldn't learn. I couldn't concentrate. Um, and then basically my grades were terrible, apart from PE and English, which I was really good at. Um, and yeah, and then it just kind of battered my self-esteem and confidence because I
Yeah.
thought, and maths was particularly challenging, which I now know is dyscalculia. So I thought I was a failure at a really young age, and I thought I was stupid. So um, thankfully, I now know differently. But yeah, so I knew that I had difficulties with learning and concentration for a long time.
I think that's probably like the same. It mirrors you, like,
Yeah.
doesn't it, as well?
Mm.
Because you probably had the same kind of
Yeah, in
in
school and
school and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
mine was more of I couldn't get stuff done in time, so it was constant just catching up with things and doing homework on buses and stuff like that. I was good at that.
The back
Yeah,
of the
Yeah.
bus. And
yeah.
when did you realise or what came into your head and thought, Actually, this could be ADHD," or when you got diagnosed?
So I was a teacher for 17 years, and although there were elements of teaching that I loved, i.e., teaching children, um, there were elements that were really tricky.
Yeah.
Planning, especially the longer term planning. I could plan the night before, no
Yeah.
Yep.
problem. But the longer term planning, I just found it so difficult, and I
Yeah.
just for 17 years I thought, one day I'll be able to do this, but and I was too ashamed to ask for help, and I didn't know that I particularly needed help. I
Mhm.
knew I was struggling, but for me that was normal. Um, so I hopped from teaching job to teaching job, and I found myself in a really lovely organization that was it was teaching, but it was teaching small groups. We were independent of schools. So we went
Amazing.
in and taught kind of emotional literacy based, all the important stuff,
Oh, I
Wow.
love
Aye.
that.
sessions.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was then I started, because I've been in education, I knew about ADHD.
Yeah.
And then it all just kind of clicked into place and I pursued it. And yeah, so this was about 14 years ago. I was
Wow.
I was assessed and diagnosed, so I was ahead of the game.
it's mental because 14 years ago, I don't think I'd even properly heard about
No, I never knew
ADHD
what
and
it was.
and
No.
I mean, the job that I was in then, it wouldn't have come into factor, but I'm a teacher now. I teach high school children,
Yeah.
and for the yes, and it's a challenge, isn't it? But now it's everywhere, isn't it? And but back then, that's amazing that 14 years ago you got that diagnosis because
I think it's amazing that you were a teacher for 17
oh
years.
my god,
So
I
do
could
I.
not do it. No chance.
what years did you teach?
Secondary. So I
Yeah,
trained as a PE teacher, but very soon stopped PE and went into alternative education and
okay,
vocational stuff.
Wow.
yeah, wow.
I absolutely could not. That's I admire
Some
that
of the
for
stories that
17
I come
years.
home and tell
No.
you, isn't it? Like, I don't think I'd last 17
No.
years. Yeah. When you got that diagnosis then, what was the feeling? Was it relief? Was it kind of like astoundment? Was it, oh my gosh, like it's not, it's not me kind of thing?
No, because for me, like, because I'm autistic as well,
Mhm.
so I'd been researching for 5 years before I built up the courage to go for an assessment.
Right.
Uh,
And in that 5 years, I put together an A4 ring binder of evidence.
Brilliant. I love,
And
that's you.
I love
yeah, and
that.
all of that imposter syndrome stuff. Like, no, I'm fine, and then the next day,
Mm,
no, I'm really struggling. Back and forth, back and forth. So by the time I kind of knew, and it was more of a case of validation and like, right, what's next here?
yeah.
Um, yeah, so I didn't have the shock because I'd known for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, that
Amazing.
definitely mirrors like your
Yeah.
diagnosis, doesn't it? Because
Mm.
you kind of so it was your son, wasn't it, that was going through
Yeah.
the diagnosis process, and,
hmm
and you looked at the list of
Yeah, I was looking at the questionnaire and I thought, oh. And then by the end of the questionnaire, I was like, oh, I've got ADHD.
Yeah,
so again, it was more like validation for you, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Like the same. Amazing.
yeah.
Did anything change after you got that validation? Did anything change for you, or did kind of life just carry on being like it was?
No, I would say everything changed internally
Mhm.
because I finally had the proof. Not that you need um, a diagnosis for
hmm
proof. I think when you know,
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
self-diagnosis is valid. I was in a fortunate position at that time. Um, so, what was the question?
What changed? Did anything change afterwards?
Well, yes, yeah. So internally, everything
Yeah.
changed because I had, real proof, real evidence that my struggles were not personality flaws,
Yeah.
not me being stupid. I'm far from it. Still kind of working through that belief because it was ingrained for a long,
hmm
long time. Um, but yeah, forgiveness, compassion, which is, self compassion is something that I'm very, very big on and advocate for and
Yeah.
hmm
hope that everyone can be more self-compassionate because obviously, we spend a lot of time blaming ourselves for,
Yeah.
for things that
Absolutely.
we have no control over.
Yeah.
hmm
Memory is a challenge for me. Lots of challenges, but lots of strengths as well, which I like to focus on, not to deny the challenges. If you focus on your strengths, then you're more equipped to deal with your challenges, aren't
Of
you? So
course.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
life changing, life changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you sorry, did you have a question then?
No, it's
Oh,
just
okay.
that's something that I've been working on in the past year is trying to be kinder to myself, and
Yes.
like it can be a struggle though. It can be
Mhm.
that takes a lot of work, I think.
I think
Yeah,
Mm,
it takes a lot of your kind of energy as well. Like I see
mm,
you burn out and it's
yeah,
probably because you're trying to be kinder to
yeah,
yourself.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because well, the brain wants just to carry on the way it's always carried on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It
that's
likes
it.
the familiarity. I was listening
Yeah.
to a podcast this morning, and there was a quote saying, our brains are naturally resistant to happiness. They'd rather just carry on the same old way. So it
Yeah.
takes a
Yeah,
lot of of effort to be
Yeah,
compassionate,
definitely.
definitely.
And it's funny
Yeah.
you say that because I'm probably more susceptible. So I don't have ADHD, and I'm probably more susceptible to accepting happiness than what you are
Yeah.
tenfold.
Hmm.
Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
So it's
Mm.
Yeah.
mental. Are you medicated, Susie, or
Yeah, so when I was first diagnosed all that
yeah?
time ago, I had medication and it kind of did its job. I was in the school system. I don't know why I went from like involuntary school system to then volunteering to be in it. But anyway, I was in it. Um, baffles me.
Yeah.
So it really helped me kind of fit into that system, which in hindsight, I think, oh my goodness, why should we have to fit into
Yep.
systems?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Mhm.
anyway, I had it for a few years, I think, and then I stopped. Oh, it increased my tics. So I
Right.
had
Okay.
mild Tourette's, and the medication at the time um, increased them, and it was quite a
Wow.
challenge.
Yeah.
It didn't cause them. It doesn't cause tics, but it can uncover them if they're mild.
Okay.
Well,
Ah.
and if they're not mild. Um, so yeah, then I kind of had it came off of it for over 10 years, and then recently, well, probably about a year ago, my inattentiveness was starting to be a problem,
Mm.
and I've the last 2 years I've had a big health transformation. I no longer drink alcohol. That's coming up for 2 years.
Wow.
Amazing. Well
Amazing.
done.
Yeah, thank you. And, yeah, so my brain was getting a bit sluggish, even with the morning swimming and not no alcohol and better food choices sometimes. So, I just thought, "Oh, hold on, I can't just wander into the kitchen and not do the thing that I came to do," and everything taking so long. So I went back to the people where I got the diagnosis in the
Right.
first place. Had to go through a few hoops, and
Mm.
now I'm back on a low dose of medication, because I manage it with, the outdoor swimming and
Yeah.
Yeah,
other
that's
stuff.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about it, and just that. Honestly, I can imagine the feeling of getting up in the morning and going for that. It must feel amazing, but actually doing it.
Yeah.
That's interesting though that like because obviously people the side effects to the medication that we're not aware of, and that's interesting that the one of your side effects was it increased your tics. So
Hmm.
to come off it and then actually to help yourself for 10 years just without the medication is pretty impressive because you're still waiting for your titration, aren't you?
Yeah.
To and I think you are a bit apprehensive, aren't you, about like what's
Yeah,
gonna
I think
happen?
you hear so
Yeah.
many stories, don't you, from both sides. Some people say, "Oh, it changed my life immediately,"
Yeah.
and other people don't like it. And I think I'm somewhere in the middle with.
Mm,
There's a lot of fear involved as well. I think it can be a scary thought to.
mm,
Yeah. Yeah, I think just everyone's so different, and
Yeah,
yeah.
the thing is, if you try it and it works, great. If you don't have to stay on it. You can
that's it. Of course.
try a different type. There's all
Mhm.
different
Yeah.
types
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and just yeah, it is a scary thing as well.
Yeah.
Fab. Let's move on to the comedy. I'm really, really excited for this bit. So, how did you get into comedy? What was all that about?
So the organisation I mentioned earlier, the kind of the one independent of schools where
Yeah.
we would go in, they were so lovely, like the best organisation I worked for. They said to me, if you want to do any course, let us know and we'll pay for it as long as it helps your teaching.
Mm.
So I was like, when they said any course, being I'm autistic, so I took that very literally and found a comedy course in Brighton and a comedy improv course, so improvised comedy. I
Yeah.
thought that sounds like fun. So I turned up, and there was probably like 20 in the class. And I
Wow.
just walked in and I thought, what am I doing? And I just
Mm.
wanted to leave. I was like, this is just too much. But I didn't leave because the thought of leaving was too
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was stuck and
Stuck
thank
there to
goodness.
do it.
Yeah.
That made
And
so much sense there. I get that.
yeah, it's so basically, I did my first scene and they were like, "Who hasn't been up yet?" And I was just sitting there like that. And then they
Quiet in
said,
the corner.
"You, come on." And I was like, "But I haven't done this before." Nobody had. And, they said, "Come on, up you come." So I did it, like, there was warm up and stuff.
Yeah.
And the very first scene was, me and someone else pretending we were in a graveyard. That was kind of what we were given, and we
Brilliant.
just came up with stuff. Everyone laughed. I enjoyed it, and that was the moment I was like, "Wow, this is amazing."
Yeah.
It was like an instant dopamine boost as well.
Mhm.
I love that, like the dopamine thing.
Yeah.
So I trained to be a drama teacher. I actually teach English now, but
Oh,
I trained to be a drama teacher. And I love getting up into front of the kids and doing a bit of improv because I just find it so exhilarating. Like just to think
yeah.
on your feet and kind of like do it straight away. And I love it when the kids do it and stuff. So yes, I think improv is like a great road to go down. Not
Nope.
for you though, is it?
Nope.
Maybe you need to go to a class and
No,
just
I
like get
think
in there.
I think it's terrifying. I don't know how you do it. I don't, especially in front
Oh,
of
well,
people.
yeah, it was terrifying, but also
Mm.
exhilarating. I also
Yeah.
teach, workshops to neurodivergent adults, so autistic and ADHD
Uh-huh.
here in Brighton, and they absolutely love it. But
Yeah.
it's very
I imagine,
scary at first, but
Mhm.
yeah.
that's why I make my workshops very gentle, so that you're not thrown in at the deep end.
Yeah. I imagine the dopamine hit that you must get afterwards. Like if
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
experienced that, I can imagine that you must
Yeah.
be off the scale.
Mhm.
Like to get that feeling after you come off
Yeah.
stage. Try it. It's funny. I tried to get him through it in the car on the way here. He was, he was having none of
Well, we
it.
should have videoed that. That was nope.
Yeah. Um. So do you think your ADHD has kind of helped with your comedy, or do you think it's not come into it, or
Yeah, I would say 100% help. So I do improv and I do stand up,
yeah?
and quite often I mix the two. So if I'm doing stand up, I do some improv as well, and the same when I'm doing my talks around all neurodiversity. I bring in the comedy to my talks as
Hmm.
well, so that's what makes it a bit different. And yeah, 100%. So with the improv, you can be impulsive. You don't have to, well, to a degree, you don't have to censor yourself. Obviously,
Depends the
there are
audience, doesn't it?
Read the
Yeah,
room.
yeah.
there are boundaries and things that you just wouldn't joke about.
Yeah.
But you know, the impulsivity really helps. The lack of filter, the I think being creative, and you know, when with ADHD, sometimes you get lots of ideas all at once. Well, with improv, you can just grab one and go for it
Mm,
rather than think, "Oh, I shouldn't say that." Oh, because you have to. You know, you're in the moment. You've got to do something. So yeah, it really helps me, and with my stand up as well. You know, if I'm telling a story, so I kind of do storytelling as my stand up.
love
Um,
that.
and then quite often I'll be mid-sentence and I'll be like, "What? What was I even saying?" And years ago, I would have been really ashamed, like, "Oh god, I must look so stupid." But, you know, my audience are mostly neurodivergent anyway. And,
Mhm.
I was just like, "What was I just saying? Where was I?" And they tell me and I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And then I
Back to
can
it.
back
Yeah.
to it, and sometimes that triggers a tangent, and I can go off on a
Yeah.
tangent, and I don't apologise for it anymore,
Yeah,
you know?
I love that.
Absolutely not.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, comedy it requires like taking a risk, especially improv. Do you think ADHD makes you more impulsive, or do you think you're brave, or does it make you more brave on stage?
Yeah, I think, you know, being ADHD and autistic
Mm.
is its own kind of unique combination, and unique to everyone, obviously, when nobody's the same. Um, and I think it has given me a lot of courage, a lot of tenacity. You know, I was a teacher for 17 years, and I got to year 17 and only realised just because you can doesn't mean you should,
Mhm.
I
you
like
know?
that.
So
Mhm.
there's positives and negatives to that. But yeah, I think neurodivergent people tend to be, you know, out the box thinkers, a bit braver. Not always the case when you've been kind of put down and and bashed down, but I think deep within inside me is, and I love performing. I used to love it and be terrified all at once, but
Mm,
now all these years later, I absolutely love it and feel most comfortable on stage. I'm
that's
more
amazing.
comfortable talking to 200 people than I am to a group of people, you know?
So that was my next question, actually. So Adam is a kids entertainer,
Yeah.
gets on
Oh,
stage
Yeah.
every weekend and
Mhm.
entertains the kids, don't you?
Yeah.
However, outside of kids entertaining, you're a completely different person.
Mhm.
Hate being in a room, like hate being in a small group, don't you? I'll let you
Yeah.
carry on. Sorry, go
No,
on.
no,
Like,
it's so what you've just said there, I've been saying that for years. It's I could stand on the stage in front of 200, 500. It's not a problem, that's fine. But I come off the stage and I'm like, don't speak to me. Don't even Zoom calls. I can't do Zoom calls.
mm,
This terrifies me. The podcast idea
oh,
terrified me.
wow.
Interviews terrify me. Anything like that. So
Wow.
I'm really interested in that side of things. I would love to hear about the difference between on stage and off stage, or if you've overcome that.
Yeah, so I'm like I say, I'm massively confident on stage now, and I am confident off stage doing podcasts. I've done quite a few now, so it's
Hmm.
kind of second nature. I've done a lot of personal development work, examining my beliefs. For example, that belief that I grew up with that I'm stupid, that stood in my way a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But now I've worked through that, in lots of different ways. I've found evidence to suggest that I'm not stupid. I've got a degree. If you're
Hmm.
measuring stupidity in terms of study, which, of course, there are lots of different types of intelligence.
yeah.
Um, but so yeah, on stage, very comfortable. Off stage, yeah, I'm still comfortable. I'm in my own skin. The only thing that gets me sometimes is going to a new networking event where there's a big group of people, and of course, I want to and need to be going to these events to get, to raise my speaker profile.
Hmm.
And the, it's that moment you walk in and there's a big group and they're all talking. You go and get your coffee. That's something to do. And now you've got your coffee. It's like, oh my God. I find it really hard to just go up to people and go, "Oh, hi, as you know, Adam."
Yeah. The net we've spoke about the networking a lot. That is a big struggle.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And last month I found a neurodivergent networking meeting,
All right.
which that was a game changer. That was brilliant. I really enjoyed that. It was good
Yeah,
because it took away the level of small talk, if you like. We were just
Mm,
straight into it. Everybody was. It was more deep conversation. It was good. I enjoyed it.
yeah. No, that sounds good. I
Mhm.
Online networking also I find a bit easier because it's just less. You can't all talk at the same time online.
yeah.
I've done some neurodivergent networking, and yeah, it's so different.
Yeah.
But because I'm a speaker wanting to get into big organizations, it's like, you
Yeah.
know, but what is different this time, whereas before I would have kind of just left, which I have done before.
Mhm.
Recently I just left one. It was too hectic. It was in London. It was a rooftop bar, and
Oof.
it was the music was blaring, so I couldn't have heard anyone anyway. I
Yeah.
got my free drink, and then I just left and went
Yeah.
to Soho and had a nice Chinese by myself. Um, quite quite an expensive, um, you know.
Yeah.
Well, there's your ADHD tax. But
Mhm.
Yes. Can I ask you a question, actually? Adam, scenario, Adam went
Uh-oh.
to an event a couple of weeks ago and he arrived at the wrong building, didn't you?
Uh,
And then so
oh,
he found the right building, but was then 20 minutes late, half an
mhm,
hour late, and it
mhm.
had already started. What would you do in that situation, Susie? Would you walk away or would you go in and introduce yourself and say, sorry, I'm late?
that would really depend on how stressed that had made me going to the
Okay.
wrong building. It would also depend on how much sleep I'd had the night before, because
Interesting.
Ah.
that for me, that, influences everything, and if I haven't slept well, then I've gone to the wrong place, which is
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
for me, that's such a usual thing to do. Um, and I must say, the self compassion comes in here because I did this the other day, went to the wrong place. And years ago, I would have, 2 years ago, I would have been, oh, you're so stupid. Why didn't you look at the postcode? Why
Yeah,
didn't you,
Mhm.
all of that? But I didn't give it a story. I didn't give it a judgment. I was just like, okay, I'm in the wrong place. Message the person. She was still okay. But that took a lot of, that's a lot of inner practice to get
yeah,
to that point.
yeah,
But
Yeah,
absolutely.
it
yeah.
is possible. So I didn't have a meltdown. I met the girl, had a lovely time, made a lovely connection. So
Amazing.
yeah, if I hadn't have slept well, I may have just left. It really depends.
It's funny because a lot of our friends said, "Oh, I'd just gone in, I'd just
Just
gone
go
in,"
in,
but it's
but
not that
no,
easy, is
no,
it? And
absolutely
and
not,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
I had a
You do,
meltdown and walked away.
yeah, yeah.
So I didn't go in, and it was something that I'd been looking forward to.
Mm.
Uh,
Such a shame. Yeah,
yeah, I felt really guilty leaving, but that it outweighed the thought of going in late and having entered that outweighed it, so that's why I
yeah.
Yeah.
left.
And you chose yourself in that moment, which is
Yeah,
great because you could have pushed through, gone in, and felt even worse.
yeah, very
Absolutely.
true.
Yeah. I was just proud of him for going in the first place, if I'm
Yeah,
honest.
Yeah,
'Cause
I mean,
he was at home,
yeah,
I was at work, I'm getting text messages, "Do I go? Do I not go?" I was like, "Get gone," and
yeah.
yeah, so there's big
Mm,
step. Um, Back to, the comedy thing, when you are on stage performing, even when you're doing your speaking as well, does, RSD ever come into play? Do you kind of have a feeling of, because I know that you have it, Adam, don't you, with
mhm,
parents who are sat around the room watching you do
yeah.
your show?
You
Um
watch the one person that isn't smiling, that's the one person that you'll perform to.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Does that come into play with yourself, Susie?
Not so much anymore.
Amazing.
Um, I mean, no, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I started an event in Brighton called ADHD The Experience, and I it was born out of wanting to bring the community together. So it's speakers first half, and then comedians second half, and I
Right.
host it. It was born out of wanting to bring the community together, and also I needed a show reel. So I'm like, well, I'm not gonna sit around waiting for somebody to book me as a speaker. I'll do
Yeah.
my own.
Love
And
that.
and I really remember, it was only 2 years ago when that started. Got about 30 people to come along, five
Amazing.
days before Christmas. Thought that was
Amazing.
pretty impressive. I
Yeah.
was like, why did I do this
Yeah,
first? Anyway, because I wanted to, had to
yeah,
be done. And it was during the break, and I went into the kind of green room, which was very unglamorous. But I could hear people the other side of the door, like waiting for the toilet. And I quickly ran out of the green room because I was scared that I would hear them like say something bad about the
Yeah.
show when there was
Yeah.
no
mm,
evidence whatsoever. They're all sitting laughing. And
yeah,
so, but now I've really learnt to bring the focus back to me. So, and also I'm flashing my
It's okay.
microphone. Um, so realizing that, if somebody does look bored or yawn or look at their phone, um, that's nothing to do with me.
yeah,
So come giving the power back to myself rather than they said this about me, they looked like this, making all of these assumptions, which are 9 times out of 10 untrue. It's all protection, isn't it? Or if I can realize that they're slagging me off first,
yeah,
then I'm okay.
yeah,
But it's just your brain kind of going into overdrive. But it takes a lot of work, not just in terms of mindset, because you can mindset your way out of some things, but if your body still feels that it's the truth, then there's a mismatch. So
Yeah.
helping the body to kind of recalibrate and letting you know, letting myself know that I'm safe. And even if somebody is bored or hates it or doesn't like me, because not everyone likes
yeah,
everyone,
that's
do
Yeah,
it.
they?
yeah.
But I'm okay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So well, we can try, which I've spent a lifetime time doing, try to get people to like me. That way I'm okay.
mm,
Gosh, no, 50 years later, I realized I don't have to do that anymore.
That's incredible that you've got to that point though. That's amazing.
Yeah, I love.
And obviously it's took time and it's took effort and it's took a lot of training, but I think that's absolutely amazing. Like, well done.
Yeah,
Well done to you. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You need to
yeah, that's
get
what I
some
want to be.
tips. Yeah.
I'll get there.
You will.
Yeah.
Just to kind of reflect then, what would your younger self, what would you tell your younger self then, before you got your diagnosis, kind of what would you tell your younger self?
Yeah, I wrote a letter actually somewhere. What I would say is, you're not stupid. You're perfect as you are. You know, us humans are perfectly imperfect. There's
Yeah.
no such thing as perfection. Um, you know, and that's kind of what we're conditioned to believe. And there's nothing wrong with you. Your brain works differently, and that's a good thing.
Yeah,
And you know, who wants to be like the everyone else?
very true.
Very
You know,
boring, isn't
it's
it? Very boring. Yes.
yeah.
And
So
because
just there's nothing wrong with you. You're
yeah,
Yeah,
amazing as you are.
that's a really like
that is lovely.
positive, strong message, isn't it? Okay, I asked in the email that I sent over to you, we have a segment in our podcast called The Good, Bad, The Ugly, where we kind of get listener stories in to tell us what they think the good, bad and ugly about ADHD is. Could you tell us your good, bad and ugly, please?
So good is my creativity and my boldness, my braveness to build my own business. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was very unhappy teaching, well, the aspects of it. And now I've created this business that works for me and my nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, you know, coaching ADHD folks using comedy improv techniques for confidence and RSD and all of that.
love it.
So
It's
that's,
amazing.
you know, and my events and my
Mm-hmm.
speaking, you know, so that's good, good, good. Bad, um, I don't like the word bad. Frustrating can be, like we were saying, turning up at the wrong place. You know, I
Yeah.
have a real fear of being late. So I'm
Yeah.
always early. So if I'm late, that's extra. Ugh. Um, so things like, you know, the everyday things that are going to affect us can be very frustrating. But
Yeah.
I think with that comes a level of self-acceptance. Yeah, it's going to take me longer, you know,
Yeah.
or and ugly. I guess it's the thoughts we can have about ourselves,
Yeah.
and this is why the self-kindness and compassion is so important, because
Yeah.
a lot of us have spent a lifetime being motivated through fear and stress, and of course that leads to burnout.
Yeah, of
Yes.
course.
So if we can help ourselves and be kinder to ourselves, it does work, but it's a leap of faith as well, because our nervous systems are not yet prepared for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, brilliant. It's been absolutely amazing to
Yeah.
speak to you. Very thought provoking. Like I've got like 1,000 things going
Yeah.
around in my head, and I feel like I want to set up a little private, like one-to-one for you and Adam,
Yeah.
just to try and coach him. Where can we find you on social medias?
So SuziPayton.com is my website, and then
Amazing.
you've got I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Just type in Suzi Payton or head to the website,
The
Google,
links are
you'll
on
find
there.
me.
Yeah. So we'll add all the links
Yeah,
onto
in
the
the
episode.
description. Yeah.
Go on.
Is the ADHD experience, is that still going?
Yeah, so that happens 3 or 4 times a year. There was supposed to be one in March, but I've just had to put the brakes on because I didn't have long enough to get it together. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking at April or May, and that's in Hove.
Okay.
So
Excellent. We'll
yeah.
be there.
Oh,
I'll be there.
I'll tell you something. Honestly,
Yeah.
I can already see it in Adam's head. He's pricing up his train journey down to Hove. Honestly,
Yeah. Yeah,
brilliant.
well, you can be in the audience, or you can
Yeah.
come and do a talk or a bit of entertainment, whatever
I
you,
would
that
love
would
to
be
be in the
fun.
audience. Thank you very much.
Where you safest. One day you'll be on that stage. But yeah, lovely to speak to you.
Amazing.
It's
Thank you.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to meet you both. Thanks.
You too.
Thank you.